I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you would, please follow along with the Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation by Ted Martin.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, and guests. Please join me in prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for another beautiful day in the Ozarks as we get ready for a great tourism season here in Branson, Missouri. Thankful for our leadership team here on the board, for our city staff, for past leaders in our community and those that are coming on in the future. Father, we invite you into the chambers tonight as we do business of the city, but we pray that that business will be honoring and glorifying to you as we go through this agenda. Thank you for the many employees that we have here, especially those like Don being recognized tonight, and many, many more that desire to serve our residents, our visitors, and our businesses. Father, we love you and praise you in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Ted. Madam Clerk, could we get a roll call, please?
Denham.
Here.
Cooper.
Here.
Milton.
Here.
Howden.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
LeBlanc.
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask Director Kendall Powell if he'd come down and present Don Eby with the Utilities Department as the Employee of the Month, April 24.
Good evening. On behalf of the Mayor, Board of Aldermen, City Administrator, and City staff, it is my honor to announce Utilities Employee Don Eby as the City of Branson April 2024 Service and Excellence Employee of the Month. This award recognizes employees who have gone above and beyond and whose performance exemplifies the City of Branson values. Don, who handles the majority of our water treatment plant maintenance, is always willing to take time to train and show other employees how to handle this aspect of plant operations. His dedication to the City of Branson and the Water Treatment Division helps our operators grow in their understanding of everything involved with water treatment. Don has recently taken time to find training videos that pertain to our water treatment plants, and when he couldn't find the videos he wanted, he made them on his own. By utilizing his knowledge and experience, Don created how-tos to help coworkers learn more about plants. His efforts in this was above and beyond what was expected, and his videos will be able to help both current and future operators. Even more recently, Don has conducted in-person classroom training for staff to learn more about specialty equipment, and even held a math class specialized in teaching formulas used in everyday treatment processes to aid new staff in achieving their state certificates. Congratulations and keep up the good work. Thank you, Don.
Very nice. Congratulations, Don. Next, Chief Schmidt will be presenting Justin Brown, Caleb Teague, and Brandon Gamble of the Police Department as a special commendation Employees of the Month for April 24.
Mayor, member of the board, thank you very much. It is my honor, on behalf of the mayor, board of aldermen, and city staff, to announce police department employees Justin Brown, Caleb Teague, and Brendan Gamble as the city's Branson's 2024 Employee of the Month in the special commendation category. This category was created because police and fire tend to do a little bit different work than everybody else, and so they have a special category on there for us. And anytime I get to brag about my officers and my employees, I'm really excited to do so. This one is really kind of cool, and the reason that they were nominated is that we had some suspects going around breaking into several cars throughout the area. And over the course of time, suspects stole numerous items, firearms, credit cards, had rung up tens of thousands of dollars worth of fraudulent charges and everything. And it would be really easy for the police officers to just go take the report and submit it and turn it in and wait for investigations to get around to it. However, these officers did not do that. They worked pretty quickly, went and gathered video, were able to identify a suspect that one of them was able to recognize. And of course, you've heard me say it, once we've got a picture or a name, we know where you're living. And they went and found him in one of our lovely establishments. And Officer Gamble here, who's had plenty of opportunity to write search warrants for his drug work and everything with the dogs, applied his search warrant skills, and they were able to get a search warrant. Sergeant Teague did an incredible tactical plan using his team, had all the equipment necessary, and they went and hit the hotel room that night. Surprised the heck out of our suspects. We got 2 felony arrests out of it, recovered several of the stolen items to include the firearms, and really put a stop to that criminal ring, all because the patrol officers didn't want to just wait around and let them continue to apply their trade. They take crime personal here in this town, and we're going to come get you. And for that, I am really, really proud of these officers. Justin couldn't be here today, but Sergeant Teague and Officer Gamble are here, and I am just extremely proud of all 3 of them. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh, now they can see me. Wow, good job, guys. Well, how impressive is that, Chief? Hey, Chief, did you want to share what the score of the softball game was?
I talked a big game beforehand and unfortunately wasn't able to back it up. We got thumped by the fire department. The good news is we at least take notes and we know what we're in for next time, and we will come back with a vengeance and stock our team appropriately. So, and we will bring more pepper spray and tasers to the game in the future.
That's great. So this is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen. At this time, the board will hear from citizens who have signed.
Mayor, you have just one thing real quick, right before that proclamation.
Oh, I was trying to rush the meeting along. I apologize. Is there somebody here from the auxiliary? Hi, we're right here. Oh, well, come on down. I have something for you. It's a proclamation.
Fancy.
It is fancy. It says, whereas the Junior Auxiliary of Taney County, Missouri, a chapter of the 83-year-old National Association of Junior Auxiliaries, Inc., represents a serious endeavor on the part of women to be active and constructive participants in the community and to assume responsible leadership in meeting community needs. And whereas the mission of the National Association of Junior Auxiliaries is to encourage member chapters to render charitable services which are beneficial to the public, with particular emphasis on children and to cooperate with other organizations performing similar services. And whereas the Junior Auxiliary of Taney County, Missouri has since 1998 worked actively to perform the mission of the National Association of Junior Auxiliaries Incorporated. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Larry Milton, Mayor of the City of Branson, Missouri, do hereby designate the week of April 7th through the 13th, 2024 as Junior Auxiliary Week in Branson, Missouri.
I should have gave him some rabbit ear.
I'm going to ask Bobby to share a few words with us.
Good evening. As a past president and board member of Junior Auxiliary, I thank the city for this proclamation, and we are getting ready for our next year, where we do lots of fun and activities with mainly kids. We do things from tender critters, where we give stuffed animals to the hospital, first responders, and Taney County Health Department. So when children have trauma, they can have a little stuffed critter to hold on to. Our big thing coming up is scholarships. We give out 4 scholarships to the area high schools in Taney County. Plus, we have a scholar care program. So we will be giving out about $9,000 in scholarships coming up here in May. And we have Celebrate Reading, because we think books are really important for kids to have. We'll be doing that in June. And then some of our fun fundraisers, we'll be doing grocery grab again, so be looking for us. We'll have a ticket to sell. We just had our big annual trivia challenge, and our favorite newspaper guy in the back, his team came in 3rd. So we are very, very, very busy and want to help kids in our community, and again, we thank you.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Madam Clerk, am I good to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen meeting. At this time, the board will hear the citizens who have signed up in the order they are listed. Please note the clerk will let speakers know when they have 30 seconds left, and a notification will sound when their time is up. We ask that speakers wrap up their comments upon hearing the 30-second warning. If a speaker would like a board member to bring an item down from the consent agenda for additional discussion, please note this request during comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Yes, sir. We have 4 speakers. Our first one is Doug Clark, and he's speaking on Senate of Louisiana passed Senate Bill 133, outlawing any activist of the World Health Organization, including in affiliated programs, using grants to found groups of World Economic Forum to organize on state campuses. This includes groups of the global shapers and global leadership inclusion of all policies of the United Nations. This bill passes 37-0, effective 8/1/2024.
What's significant about that is that's the first time I've seen any legislation that puts that in writing, that it is a danger. And this is the bill here, and it was passed 37-0 in Louisiana. It's in the House down there now. This is going to be a pretty stark slap in the face to a lot of people that are getting paid from undermining our country. We have people on city, I'm not saying here in Branson, but we have a lot of people across the country that have been subjected to having these World Economic Hubs put in. And in the case of Louisiana, they have one in New Orleans. I have not been able to personally talk to Senator Presley about that down there yet, but I'm sure that they are far ahead of most states on seeing who the enemy is. And so that's the reason why they passed that. Now,
So, excuse me, Doug, so are you sharing that so that we're aware of what's coming?
well, here's the thing. The way it works in legislation in states is if somebody's queasy about putting something out there that may seem rather peculiar or may be a threat to somebody, the more, if you can present something to another state, if they're even considering that, it encourages them to do something further. There's a place called it's a forum that's basically for Christian-oriented legislation in Wyoming. That you can go in on their website and you can surveil all of the legislation that pertains to preserving Christian elements in our education and our country. So like somebody here in Missouri has been thinking about putting something in to support that, then they're not alone doing it. That's kind of the way it works. So anyway, this, you know, to me, of all the things I've been involved in for the last 30 years, and I've been aware of United Nations collusion for a long time, they are not our friends. Anything that they touch or infiltrate in, they are doing it to basically remove any of the elements of our country that makes it work properly. So now if you go in and you look at the hubs and who's running the hubs of these different things, they're in Charlotte, North Carolina, they're in New Orleans, and they're in Cape Girardeau here in Missouri, and they plant these people in there on purpose. The World Economic Forum leadership in Germany plants them in there. They get them established in an office. They go out and schmooze with the upper crust of the community, and then the grants start flowing in to support them with an income until they cover the university and whatever else they're trying to do. We have these people on every campus in Missouri, and in some cases down on the high school level, or lower than that in some of the middle schools, okay? So what their training is the word up here, sustainability is their main thing that they have been using since the 80s to basically put a propaganda piece and a brainwashing piece in all of these kids to degrade how we got our economy that we have. Okay, we have mining, manufacturing, and farming are the main wealth-creating things that economy works on. Ours is called the American economy. And if you start regressing on that thing and you remove all of those factors out of the equation to bring a standard of living up, then they are trying to do that deliberately. And they've been attacking all of these areas for the last 50 years. So if you look around and you don't see a Florsham Shoe Company in Missouri, you don't see Wrangler jeans factories in little towns. That was the mainstay of the town that made the town viable so they could afford to have a police force. And we have let it all go like a bunch of idiots. And it's, you know, if you delve into the United Nations policy on sustainability, which they started in about the middle 80s, it's because it's a warm and fuzzy topic to talk to people about. You know, we want to save the earth, we want to do this, we want to have everybody have food, blah, 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 you know. But it doesn't work like that. You can't take a bunch of naive children in school, grade school, and, you know, propagandize in that the earth is going to end if we don't stop burning fuel or oil or whatever, or all of the polar bears are going to leave. Well, if you do a cursory examination of all of this, you find out that none of it is true. It's just a bunch of lies.
Thank you, Doug.
And I suggest that if you have somebody bringing in this material to you here on any level in legislation, the state of Missouri, you know, I'm surprised that the state of Missouri is allowing a lot of this stuff to go on here uninvestigated. Because guess
Doug.
what? You're going to be the enemy if these kids are brainwashed into this and you're burning too much oil.
Thank you. That's not protocol. I know you keep telling me the law, Deanna, but Deanna, we're going to move on to the next speaker. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Deanna Slatton, speaking on public health and
There you
safety.
go. There you go.
I would like to call point of information and direct it to Doug.
Well, for public comments, your comments are directed to the board, not to the committee, the citizens.
We're going to skip all around all the rules. Okay. So I'm here today to ask again, Ms. Hawley, if those letters of intents have been addressed. So do you know that information, if the letters that we've sent out for the last 2 years, have they been addressed? and looked at.
Deanna,
by
I
the
believe your
board.
comments, your questions would come to the board, and if you'd like me to ask a question, I'd be happy to.
Thank you. I would like to know that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Has those letters of intent been addressed?
Holly?
On multiple occasions, Ms. Slatton has brought forth to this board a request to address her causes, and no one has taken them up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that question, again, can we take this up? Can we have a meeting and sit down and look at this information that I've been trying to bring for 3 years now?
I believe Holly has that, and if.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't have it all. She's got some tidbits,
Okay.
but she doesn't have it all, no. So that's one of the questions that I would like to have answered by y'all at some point. Another thing, surety bonds. Holly, do they have their surety bonds?
Mr. Mayor, point of order.
Yes,
She's to address the board and not individuals.
thank you.
Well, I was
trying to
told that I
follow-
needed to ask her those questions, but okay.
Did
Have
you
y'all
call-
got your surety bonds yet? Do you have your surety bonds?
I am told by a reliable source,
Okay,
the Board of Aldermen are not required to have a surety bond. I know you believe differently.
the state statute requires
Okay,
it.
I know that, but we have a legal counsel, and legal counsel says,
Well, the legal counsel needs to look into the state and find out that information, because I can bring it to you if you'll look at it.
fair enough.
And another thing, how do you get your census and your like for the people that you use these grants for and all of that stuff, how do you get your census on that? Is it from the zip code? Is that what it's from, or how do you pull your census numbers?
Mayor, can I interject? Sure. I think probably a better use of the time that the public speakers are given is to express what the questions are, and then we can have staff look in and report back to the
Fair
board.
enough.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, then I'll just go on to this. Graphene oxide. Has anybody also looked into the graphene oxide to see if it's safe or not that's going into people in the shots and dental work and heparin and surgeries? Because it works with the 5G and it clots the blood and causes thrombosis. And
Deanna,
so, what?
have you asked your representatives?
Okay, now
which
we're going to
is-
touch on something
Wait a
else.
minute, I don't
Okay,
cut you off.
okay.
All right.
You're, well, kind of are, because I got another thing that I need to tell you. But go ahead.
Have you asked your representatives, which is the Taney County Commissioners, these questions?
Good
Because
luck.
they're the-
Yes, I've asked them this, and they will not address it. So
Okay.
there's that. Okay,
Time
and I'm...
out, time out. Those are your representatives.
No, they're not my representatives. When there is 5G weaponry out there on the citizens, and it's on me too. I live right beside one of the towers that can do these things.
Deanna,
And
we've
needless to
talked
say-
about this.
But, okay, but I'm not
the
going to argue
Taney-
with you over this, but I'm going to tell you all this, everyone in this room. I have called every single sheriff in Missouri, and not one sheriff I called and got their personal email, and not one email goes through. So we have a problem in this country, and we have a problem in this state when you can't get any information out to anybody. That's something else. And the same thing happens here. Same thing.
30 seconds.
If you try to email y'all, it kicks back. The only way you can get it is if you email me first, and then I get to email you back.
Deanna, we are not your representatives. Your representatives reside
You
at the
represent
Taney
Branson.
County
I live in
Commissioners.
Branson. You represent Branson. I live here.
Deanna,
I have a business also here. So there's that too.
Deanna, it's been confirmed, you do not live in the city limits, you live in Taney County, and the Taney County representatives are your representatives.
Okay, well, if we're going to go there and say that I'm no count, then I'm going to tell you you're no count too, because your seats are considered vacant by the state. Just so you know,
Okay,
if
then
you're
should-
operating without
should we
surety
adjourn?
bonds, they are.
Okay, we happen to think that we're in order, and your time is up, and thank you very much.
Well, I would like that information from your attorney,
Thank you very
because she's
much.
the one that told us that we had to talk through her.
Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Matt Kendrick, speaking on Lake Drive Train Bridge.
Hello, Matt.
How we doing?
Excellent.
You know, it's Clay, tonight I'm by myself, so my mom said after she got a photo with you and your autograph, I was on my own, that, you know, if I,
She should be fulfilled for a while.
she said if I fall, you know, it's on you guys to pick me up, but no, I'm doing much better, so that's why I didn't need either, you know, anybody to help me tonight. But guys, I just want to go over 3 reasons why I think closing the train bridge to vehicular traffic only is logistical. One of those is safety. Look what just happened in Baltimore. And I'm not trying to compare by any means a cargo ship to a vehicle whatsoever. But let's just say someone's traveling down Lake Drive for the first time, heading towards the RV park, driving the speed limit. Whether it's fog, heavy rain, sleet, what have you. There's a direct hit on one of those columns. Is that column still structurally sound? Who knows? I mean, they've been up there for a very long time. So if the city were to somehow be able to block that off to vehicles, that would ensure that those columns would never be struck. Second is, if you block that traffic off, it keeps the campground traffic reserved only for the campers. So as of right now, you have campground traffic, you have neighborhood traffic, you have thoroughfare traffic, you have boat traffic, you have the trolley traffic, and now there's another duck tour traffic, all coming down Boxcar Willie. So if we shut that off, it really keeps the campground, the traffic just for the campers, which I think is what they need. As Scotty's Trout Dock is expanding, now one thing that they're offering are e-bikes, which are great. Those e-bikes, they're coming right through my neighborhood, which is fine, but they're riding 5 abreast. So as you have cars coming down too, it just doesn't make sense, to have all of that coming down together. And third, in my opinion, if you were to block that off where, like, for example, if someone that's staying in the RV park had a ticket to your show, Clay, and they couldn't drive through my neighborhood, they had to come up through Main Street or go around 248, what are they going to see? They're going to see more businesses of Branson. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Maybe let's go to the farmhouse for breakfast, or let's go to this store, let's go to this store. You drive through my neighborhood, you don't see any businesses. So it's more of a way to keep people directed to head towards other parts of Branson without using our neighborhood as a thoroughfare. That's all I got, guys. Thanks.
Matt, I think you bring up some very good points. I really do. And I appreciated you mentioning it at the last meeting. So what I will do is I'm going to ask Kathy, city administrator.
Poor thing, Kathy, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think we should look into that. I think that you have some very legitimate issues, and we owe that to our community.
Sure.
And Kathy, Hillary, do you have Matt's contact information?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will tell you, we will reach
Thank
back
you.
out to you.
Can I ask something?
You bet.
I thought, from the last time you were here, I thought about, good night, like I've never been around a microphone before. How do you work one of these? Check 1, 2. I thought a lot about what you said, But tonight when you mentioned hitting one of those, I never thought about, wow. And that's a tight fit. When my
Very
truck
tight.
goes through there, it's tight.
I can tell you it's been hit from the sides, and sometimes I've heard them being hit from the sides from different vehicles going through there.
Yeah.
But
And I guess my other question is, have you got a feeling from your neighbors
I
about
have.
what
So-
you're presenting?
So I'm not ready to actually give out numbers yet. We're actually, planning on neighborhood barbecue. But one of the feedbacks were the convenience, making it so inconvenient for the neighbors to have to drive around, go up cliff. Second one was, what about wintertime? If we have sleet or freeze and precip, how are those neighbors going to get out? Because you have Cliff Drive on both sides on that. Yeah. So my response to that was, once this board approves our neighborhood so we can have nightly rentals, we'll get taxed more, then that can go towards extra salt. But
Wow.
Nightly rentals might create more traffic. I don't know.
but no, that was
Good points. It will be interesting.
Yes.
And boy, anything you can help us with,
We are.
knowing how your neighbors feel.
Sure,
Because the easy answer is going to be just cut it off.
right,
And that's going to create inconvenience.
of course.
Inconvenience is there's no replacement for safety.
That's what and especially now having a daughter, I'd much rather favor safety over inconvenience. That's with everybody, as for everybody. But as far as me living right on Lake Drive, we're one of the ones that are directly affected in that neighborhood.
You bet.
So,
I appreciate you bringing it up. I appreciate you also getting your neighbors to interact.
thank you.
And we will, we'll be reaching out to you.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Matt.
Our final speaker is Gary Groman, speaking on competition incentives miscellaneous.
The Taney County Commission has a solution. I applaud them. They don't put up with this garbage, including me, I might add. At your January 9th, 2024 meeting, you passed an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for the economic development of the Mammoth Fieldhouse project. I'll use the term project for the rest of this, using a portion of the city's sales tax and tourism tax revenues. The staff report for the project describes it as a facility spanning approximately 42,000 square feet, offering golf, pickleball, food, beverages, and recreational activities and entertainment. It is a $41 million development in Branson Meadows on a 9-acre site along Gretna Road across from the Branson Mill. It is expected to bring in over $19.2 million in sales and tourism tax over a 15-year period and spur additional development in Branson Meadows. The ordinance provides up to $10 million in incentive for the project's developers. The source of the incentive will be the city's remittance of 100% of the city's general sales tax revenues and 25% of the city's tourism tax revenues that are generated by the project to the applicant for 23 years or until the total reaches $10 million, whichever occurs first. The process of granting the incentives followed the existing procedures and evaluated many factors, including but for and the total potential revenue gains for the city of Branson. During Alderman and public comments regarding the ordinance, there was a significant amount of discussion before the vote on incentivizing new businesses that would compete with older businesses that receive no incentives. It is crucial to understand that in the context of the financial viability of Branson's tourism industry, every Branson business is in competition with every other Branson business to win the time of the tourists coming to Branson. Very few, if any, Branson businesses will get any revenue from tourists who don't spend time in their establishment, show, attraction, etc. Simply put, competition is an inherent part of doing business, period. While competition in certain cases, such as wholesale cannibalism, might be a reason for not granting incentive, I can think of no reason why competition should initially be a factor in awarding an incentive. Yet it was one of the reasons the city is currently evaluating its economic development and incentive policies, which is, and hopefully not the primary reason. I believe there will be more cases than not where a financial incentive from the city gives a competitive advantage to the one getting it. From the city's point of view, however, it is the expected total economic benefit to the city as a whole that should govern their decision relative to granting the incentive. Large-scale cannibalism of a number of existing businesses, reducing the overall financial benefits to the city, might be a reason for not granting an incentive. But the fact that a business wants an incentive because the decision is made or failed to make, and competition should never be a factor in granting financial incentives. While I have yet to learn how the policies will eventually work out, my prayer is that no Branson taxpayer dollars will be used as incentives after the fact or for existing businesses based on competition from someone else. The city's involvement with incentives and competition should start and stop based on objective, definitive criteria and requirements, and with the granting or denial of an incentive before the project begins. Existing businesses and developments should have made their decisions based on due diligence, what they think will be profitable, the financial tools available, and the full expectation of competition. If they didn't, that's on them, not on the taxpayer. Any questions on this? Okay.
No, thank you, Gary.
No, I got one other thing.
Go ahead.
I drive by that Lake Shore Drive road every day and have been for a number of years. In my opinion, I haven't seen an accident. I've been doing it for over 10 years. I've never seen an accident, haven't seen anybody get injured there. The railroad bridge itself kind of acts as a funnel because you only get through one at a time. I'm impatient, but I patiently wait. People patiently wait. I haven't seen long lines of cars going through the neighborhood, and I go down to Scottish Trout Dock quite frequently. I would proceed very carefully because that is a
30 seconds.
important shortcut. That's it.
Thank you, Gary. Madam Clerk?
There are no more speakers.
Okay, next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the audience would like to have moved down from consent or ask additional questions or comments? Any items the board would like to have moved down? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the March 26, 2024 study session and March 26, 2024 regular meeting. Final reading of Bill Number 6428, an ordinance amending Section 2-387 of the Branson Municipal Zoning Change for mixed-use MU to community commercial CC for the property located at 780 State Highway 165, Branson, Missouri, 65616. Final reading of Bill Number 6430, an ordinance approving the lease agreement with FTD MB Real Estate LLC for 3 parking stalls within the parking structure located at 129 East Pacific Street, Branson, Missouri, and authorizing the mayor to execute the lease. Final reading of Bill Number 6431, an ordinance approving a license agreement with FTD MB Real Estate LLC and the City of Branson for a portion of the right-of-way generally known as Sycamore Street, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving all items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote?
Denham?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Howden? Yes. Rodriguez?
Yes.
LeBlanc?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0. Motion carries.
So, Madam Clerk, would you please provide an introduction to this item?
This is the certification of election results by Stephanie Spencer, Taney County Clerk. The following is an official certificate of election results for the municipal election held in Taney County, Missouri on April 2nd, 2024. For Alderman, Ward 1, Marshall Howden, 191 votes. Bill Skanes, 101 votes. Alderman, Ward 2, Glenn Schultz, 204 votes. Chuck Rodriguez, 133 votes. For Alderman, Ward 3, Ralph LeBlanc, 161 votes. This was certified the 5th day of April, 2024.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask Alderman Chuck to meet me down at the podium, please. Chuck, I have a plaque here for you. It reads, "In appreciation, City of Branson, Missouri, Alderman Ward 2, Chuck Rodriguez. Years of service to the citizens of Branson. Board of Aldermen, April 22 to April 24. Human Resource Committee, April 22 to April 23. Taney County Partnership, April 22 to April 23. The Graham Clark Airport Board, April 23 to April 24. And the Transportation Development District Board and Director, July 22nd to April 24. It says, "We appreciate your service," signed by the mayor. And I want to personally say, our relationship has had its up and downs, right? That's fair. But I believe that what you've brought to this board, I would hope that you are extremely proud of what you and this board has accomplished, especially over the last year and a half. In addition to what we have accomplished, you were instrumental in helping this board have all these projects we have in front of us. I personally want to thank you for your service. And let's get a photo. And we go back up. I'm going to ask you.
Ted who? Oh, that, oh, Ted.
So Chuck, at this time, I'd like to ask if you had anything you'd like to share.
I'd like to start off just by thanking everybody down here at City Hall. You guys have done an amazing job. Alex, Kathy, this board, we've done a lot of great things. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. Mayor, like you said, we've had some differences. Despite what the city thinks, I don't hate you. I actually respect you a lot. We've had a lot of great conversations before. We've had our bad times, and we've had a lot of great conversations afterwards. I mean, I wish things could have gone differently. I think there's so much I could have learned from you. Perhaps in the future, we'll see. Everybody else up here, especially Kathy, same thing. I didn't make your life too easy when you first got here. I did apologize to you the other day. I think you're doing a fabulous job. Same with Alex back there. I've talked to several of you directors. You know, you guys keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, you're not going to miss me at all. Glenn here's a great guy. His wife's a great woman, Beth. All the citizens out there that came to vote for me, all the citizens that have called me out to their house, have prayed with me, that have just reached out for any issues you've ever wanted or just to talk. I appreciate you all, and thank you.
I just heard Chuck say more words right there than I have in 2 years, y'all.
Chuck, thank you very much.
I'm going to miss Chuck, too. Are we allowed to say something?
No, you're out of line,
Okay, bye.
but go ahead.
No, I didn't know if we got it, if we had not. Yeah, I'm going to miss Chuck. I mean, Chuck, he never had a lot of words, but when he did have words, they meant something. You know what I mean? And just, you know, and I appreciate that. I mean, a lot of people thought, he don't never say nothing, he ain't doing nothing, or he ain't paying attention, but he is paying attention. He just, you know, usually Ralph and Marshall beat him to it, so. But no, Chuck, appreciate you, buddy. Really do.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say, you know, as everybody sitting up here knows, when you sit next to somebody, there's a lot of camaraderie that's developed, and you go through things together. And Chuck has been a sounding board to me. There's been a lot of times where I didn't know 100% how to vote on something. And I called Chuck with a genuine open heart to hear how he wanted to vote on it, and was instructive and helped me make my decision. So I'll certainly value that, and appreciate your term as Alderman, Chuck.
Oh, Ruth, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck, for serving. All of us up here know what it takes to run for office and to meet all the citizens and to be there for them, their questions, their concerns, to be able to bring solutions and to do what we can for our citizens, our city, the staff. So I just want to say thank you so much for serving with us.
Chuck.
How are you?
Well, Chuck and I have had a great relationship on the board, and truly I mean that. You know, I've learned more about Chuck in the last probably 90 days than I knew previously, and I thought I knew a lot. But I got to tell you, the last week in visiting with Chuck and just talking over some things, it really gave me great perspective. And one of the things that Chuck doesn't know is that, although him and I didn't communicate a whole lot, his presence and the insight that he provided during our executive sessions and even on the board when he did speak, really gleaned hard on my coming to conclusions based on some of the things that we voted on. And I got to tell you, you will always be part of this team and what we've done in this city. And I got to tell you, the turning the Titanic is difficult, and you were definitely part and parcel and instrumental in making that happen. And I got to tell you, the one thing that I really appreciate the most that's come out of this is your friendship. And I want to thank you for that.
Cody, did you want to say anything? You don't have to. Well, he's just a guy walking down the street, got lost, guy walking down the sidewalk, had to use the restroom, came in here, used the restroom, saw a bunch of people here, he thought he'd try to come visit.
Set the timer, Hillary.
Who's this guy?
I brought my daughter too, and she was like, "Dad, don't embarrass me tonight." So here we go.
Here we go.
No, Chuck, first off, welcome to retirement. I can tell you as somebody who's been enjoying it for a couple weeks, it's fantastic. A lot of time on my hands, so much so that I come to city council meetings. I don't know, I need help. But no, seriously, Chuck, I mean, we, 2 years ago, I guess it was 2 years ago, didn't know you, didn't know Ralph, kind of knew Marshall, and, I think we had actually attended it was a community event, and you and I even got off on the wrong foot, I think. And so it's kind of funny and ironic to hear all this tonight, because I think over the last 2 years, I gained a friend. I hope you feel the same way. I respect I respect the heck out of you. Appreciate you always, you knew what to say, when to say it, right? And your contributions, like everybody said, were valuable, and appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Cody. Okay. My city clerk has tried to teach me how to pronounce this. So here goes.
You got this.
Do I have a motion to adjourn sine dia? And you're supposed to go this.
That's okay.
Is that right? Sine dia?
Did you see it?
So move.
Second.
You don't even know what it means, and you're seconding this thing. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
So the result of the vote is 5-0. Let the record reflect the current legislative session is adjourned, and the new legislative session will begin with the administering of oaths of office.
I think what it means is we're going to take just a really short break. Is that what that means?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Yeah, but she forced me to.
Set up the You ready? Check, check, test, 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 check. Yes. Check, test. You don't. Check. Face. Check, 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 check. Oath of office. Yes, good. Your Honor, at this time, we are going to be administering the oaths of office. And we're going to start with Alderman Howden. Come on down.
Oh, yeah. I am ready. I, Marshall Howden, do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of Alderman, Ward 1, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of this class, and the ordinances of the city of Branson, and will faithfully demean myself while in office.
I got it. It's on now. Next, Alderman Schultz. I'm so sorry. There you are. He's ready.
I've got
Two.
hair.
I know. I know. So are you ready?
Ready?
I, Glenn Schultz,
I, Glenn Schultz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
all the qualifications
all the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of Alderman, Ward 2,
of the Alderman of Ward 2,
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions
the provisions
of all laws
of all laws
of this state
of this state
affecting cities
affecting cities
of this class,
of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city of Branson,
of the city of Branson,
and will
and will
faithfully demean myself
faithfully demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
Yay. Yes, sorry. Take your seat up there. Aw. Alderman LeBlanc. I'm not sure. It's important. Come. There we go. Let's adjust that a little bit. You got it? You ready?
Ready.
I, Ralph LeBlanc,
I, Ralph LeBlanc,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
all the qualifications
all the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of Alderman, Ward 3,
of Alderman, Ward 3,
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions
the provisions
of all laws
of all laws
of this state
of this state
affecting cities
affecting cities
of this class,
of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city of Branson,
of the city of Branson,
and will faithfully demean myself
faithfully demean myself
while in office.
while in office.
All right.
She's shaking her head.
Three aldermen right here. Just the new guys. Right up in, by the, yep, there you go.
What?
Is he kidding? Sure. Do it.
This isn't a music show.
Trying to run a meeting here.
Hang on, let me grab my Sharpie.
It's all right. I'm very excited. Yes. Should I do this in the background? Ralph, should I do this in the background? What are you doing? Oh my gosh, I was gonna do this over your heads as a joke.
How was that?
Am I still in the way? I was hiding behind the chair. No. Okay. That's all right. It's like get out of the picture step. I got it. Yes. Yeah. Let's go.
We will be. I will now call this meeting back to order. City Clerk, would you briefly share with the audience, those that are listening online, this board, and especially this mayor, what sine dia means?
Yeah, you got it. So it is just, it's ending one legislative term. So it starts with the election in April, and it runs through the next April. So every April, we end one legislative term and we begin a new one. So you just ended your current legislative term, and now we're opening up our brand new one with our newly seated board.
I could have just said that.
But that's, yeah.
Okay, I am now calling this new legislative session to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Denham.
Here.
Cooper.
Here.
Milton.
Here.
Howden.
Here.
LeBlanc.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we move along, you might have noticed a change on the dais. Other than Glenn joining us, there's another change. I have decided to have our city administrator, Kathy Stepp, sit with us on the dais. Over this last year and a half, we have formed, when I say we, your elected officials and your city administration has formed such a bond, working so close together and really getting things done. And so I felt it was appropriate that as much as this board respects her, I just wanted her at my side. Some think it's so she can kick me or tell me to stay on topic. But it's really out of respect for Kathy and the position she holds. So, let's see, election of acting president of the board. Oh, so now nominations are now open for the acting president of the board, which we call the mayor pro tem.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I nominate my fellow Ward 1 Alderman Clay Cooper to be acting president of the board.
okay. So nominations, are there any other nominations? Seeing none, the nominations are now closed. So the board will now be voting on Mr. Clay Cooper. Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote, please?
Denham.
Yes.
Cooper.
I guess.
Howden.
Yes.
LeBlanc.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries. Your Honor, let the record reflect Alderman Cooper is elected as acting president of the board.
Welcome back, Clay. We missed you.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6433, an ordinance approving the contract with Hunden Partners for the feasibility study of the possible expansion Branson Convention Center and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
You have heard the first reading of Bill Number 6433. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. We'll now get a staff report from Cherie.
Good evening, Board, and welcome, Glenn. Okay, so this is to approve the contract for Hudden Partners. They are going to perform the feasibility study for the convention center. We're looking at expanding it, so they're going to perform the study to let us know what options we have. So,
very nice.
Yes, staff supports this, and we seek your approval.
Any questions from the audience? Come on up.
Is it going to take up more parking to build the building? Because on Sunday, there must have been the woman of joy in town because there was no parking for congregants of Branson Christian Church.
Bobby, I have to believe that when they do the study, they're going to recommend if there's an expansion, and if there is, what size the expansion will be, and they will address if there's a possibility of needing a new hotel.
In a parking garage.
In a parking garage, yeah. But that's
Those are all things they're considering.
Yeah, fair question. Alderman, any comments, questions on this? Glenn?
Yeah, we don't have a representative here from Hunden today or on the line.
No, we do not.
I have some questions for you then, I guess.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the proposal in front of you?
Yeah, I have a copy of the contract.
Yeah, so if you go to page 11,
Okay.
I noticed their proposal was, had a number of typographical and grammatical errors in it, but there were a few that were hard to decipher without some guesswork. So on page 11, under interviews, the end of that paragraph says, includes that many do not. Do you have that on your copy that way?
Yes, I do.
And I'm guessing that that was supposed to be firms. Do you know?
I would assume you're correct. Yes.
Okay. Then if on that same page, if you go down to the bottom, the last bullet says refi amenities package of the center. And I know refi in the context of financial loans, but I'm not sure what it means here.
I would assume you're correct. It's refinance.
I don't think it's refinance.
you
It
don't
doesn't
think it
make
is?
sense. No. I couldn't figure that one out.
Reaffirm? Okay. Thank you, Angie.
Reaffirm? Okay. Then on page 12, under task 9, the first line says, Hunden will conduct an economic, FI, and employment. Something about that word FI that seems to, yeah. I think this one is fiscal. Is that what you would take it to be?
Angie, do you have any?
Yeah.
Angie, would you mind coming up? Thank you.
I honestly think that the FI should not be there at all. That they're going to perform an economic and employment impact study as well.
Okay. Then I have a question on the last page, 14, on the cost proposal. It says Hunden bills and lump sum payments, which I think is fine in principle, but in practice, what does that really mean? Some of these timelines, these milestones, are weeks or a month apart. Are we talking about paying them at the beginning of that milestone or when they complete that milestone? The language is very inspecific. Maybe you discussed that with them.
It would be at the beginning of the milestone.
At the beginning. So we lose our leverage at that point if we're not happy with the deliverables of that milestone?
You could look at it that way, yeah.
Okay. And then a couple other questions unrelated to the wording of the contract. You know, one thing we're working on from a Branson perspective is to try to shrink our closed season, you know, make our shoulders narrower, as it were, right? It would be nice if we could encourage them to have a seasonal overlay to their projections so that we could take a good look at what's going to happen with this proposal, say in January through April specifically. I mean, that's a big one for us. If that comes in very strong, that has more weight than filling up the summer months.
Right, and when we met with them, we addressed that, both me and Angie. That was a strong point that we brought, with everybody we interviewed for this feasibility study.
Okay, great, great, that'll be important. Then on the master contract, on the boilerplate from the city, we set a contract end date of December of '25, and yet their deliverables, if they were reasonably on schedule according to their estimates and we don't delay them, say that we should complete this contract with them in mid-August of this year.
Right, I'm the one that set that in date because I didn't know how long it would take for us to get everything approved and through, and I wanted to give us plenty of time because it doesn't hurt if we complete it early.
Okay, so you're not anticipating anything after that last milestone?
No.
That was just for
No,
safety's sake?
that was just me to give us wiggle room.
Okay, great. And then my last question, I'm sorry for all the questions. Who will be the point person for this contract? Great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Glenn, if you would, and those are all excellent questions, what we attempt to do is to, when you have those kinds of questions specifically, is to visit with Angie and them beforehand and go through this, and then if there are any corrections, it would give them time to correct it before.
Yeah, and normally I'd be happy to do that. It's just I had like 2 days to prepare for this meeting, so
Fair.
We're playing it out live.
Fair enough. Marshall?
I just want to highlight how crucial and important this is going to be to the future of our community. The convention center, of course, run by Angie, is just a crown jewel of this town. As Glenn mentioned, it helps us in these shoulder seasons, brings so many people in. I imagine that this feasibility study is going to come back and say full steam ahead, speed of business. So I just wanted to highlight that to the citizens and really excited about this.
Yeah. And we were really impressed with Hunden. Like, they stood out, and what they're going to provide us, we're super excited about, so.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I have had several conventions share with me. I can tell you the quilt convention and the archery convention, they have already put me on notice that if they just require more space, right? So, I mean, it wasn't any kind of a threat. They were just informing us. And so I know, Angie, when I look at the numbers of what the occupancy is and the days you have to trade out, I'm glad we're doing this study because I feel strongly we are leaving money on the table, right? So it'll be interesting to get this feasibility study back in, and thank you for helping with that. Any other aldermen have any comments or questions? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Ayes have it.
Mayor, I know they're asking, you're asking for a double read.
Yes, sir.
Am I at liberty to ask is there a reason or why we're?
Thank you for the question. We're looking for a double read to get going with the contract and get it underway quickly for all the reasons the mayor listed. We've
Okay.
got lots of demands on this space. Thank you.
Fair enough. Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6433 for its final reading due to timing.
So we have a motion and a second. Any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this? Approval of the second read. Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor of the second read, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. So, Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction for this item again?
Your Honor, this is the final reading of Bill number 6433, an ordinance approving the contract with Hunden Partners for the feasibility study of the possible expansion Branson Convention Center and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
You've heard the final reading of Bill number 6433. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Hill?
Yes, sir.
Any members of the board wishing to speak to this second and final reading? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote, please?
Denham.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Howden.
Yes.
LeBlanc.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries. Your Honor, the next item is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Branson, Missouri, setting forth the facts and reasons for the necessity to amend and increase the city's annual budget for fiscal year 2024 for Fire Station Number 3 roof replacement.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Cherie.
Okay. Yes, so this resolution is to fix Fire Station 3's roof. We are looking at a budget amendment increase of $180,000. It will be paid out of fire. Yeah, that's it.
Fair enough. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak to this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Was it 180
Excuse
or
me a
80?
second.
It's 180.
180.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill number 6434, an ordinance amending the adopted 2024 budget for the City of Branson to adjust monies in the Public Safety Fund for Fire Station Number 3 roof replacement.
You've heard the first reading of Bill number 6434. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So
moved.
And Cherie,
Yes, sir. Again, the roof, we have lots of leaking, lots of issues. We're trying to do an emergency repair and get in there and get it fixed quickly. So we're looking at $180,000 to fix the roof.
thank you. Anybody in the audience wishing to address this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6434 for its final reading due to time.
Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. Anybody in the audience wishing to address this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction for this second and final reading?
Your Honor, this is the final reading of Bill number 6434, an ordinance amending the adopted 2024 budget for the City of Branson to adjust monies in the Public Safety Fund for Fire Station Number 3 roof replacement.
You've heard the final reading of Bill 6434. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any members of the audience wishing to address this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote?
Denham.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Howden. LeBlanc.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries.
Who's that Schultz guy that keeps popping in there?
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill number 6435, an ordinance approving the interfund loan between the General Fund, Internal Service Fund, and the Public Safety Fire Fund for the Fire Station 2 water infiltration repairs.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6435. The motion approving this bill.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report from Cherie.
Okay, so we do have this in our 2024 budget, but this is the funding for it. What we're going to do is we're doing a 2% interest loan from the General Internal Service Fund. We're going to do over 10 years, but we have it budgeted to pay off in 5. And we probably will pay it off earlier. It's just to give us some wiggle room if we need it. We don't foresee it, but I just feel comfortable with that.
Thank you. So I'd like to share, what we're doing is, for the fire station, we are, instead of going and getting a loan in the market and paying the loan cost and the interest, we are utilizing our own funds that we have. We are charging a nominal 2% fee to the fire department fund, and that is, it'll be 2% of revenue that the community will be receiving right out of the fireman's fund. And so we thought that was a healthy, balanced way to do business, and that's what we're doing, if the board approves. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak to this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6435 for its final reading due to timing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any members wishing to address this matter? And this matter is approving a second read.
Board or the public?
I'm sorry?
Board?
I was asking the board.
Yeah. I just want to make a point. Again, multiple double reads, all in the interest of time. You know, I know there's a lot of residents and community leaders that kind of, you know, concern themselves about the double reads, and I just want you to rest assured that it's all in the means of just getting this done at the speed of business. This is, you know, we're not trying to push anything through. It's really, it's needed. It's been needed for a while, and Shree's taken up the, you know, the action and getting it done, and everything's working the way that it should. So,
Ralph, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you, Ralph.
Yeah, that's a good point. For example, on this particular item, what we're approving is the city's going to use its funds to loan the fire department fund monies at 2% instead of going to the market. The financial analysis says we're prepared for it to be a 10-year payout, and Cherie says that some of our projections show it'll be paid out in 5 years. It may or may not be paid out in 5 years, and it may take 10 years. But we think that's we're being good stewards of our taxpayer money by doing this. So, what did we do?
We just,
No.
Correct.
So all in favor of the second read, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you now please provide the introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is a final reading of Bill number 6435, an ordinance approving the interfund loan between the General Fund, Internal Service Fund, and the Public Safety Fire Fund for the Fire Station 2 water infiltration repairs.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote, please?
Denham,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Howden, LeBlanc,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cherie.
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution authorizing the submission of an application to the Missouri Department of Transportation, MoDOT, Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP, for the fiscal year 2024 Notice of Funding Opportunity for construction improvements within the city of Branson.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report from Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Welcome to Glenn. I'm going to just take a couple minutes of your time to explain the project that we're working on. This resolution is just asking for your blessing for me to go ask for money. So it's not our pot of money per se, but if we do get funds, there'll be a matching fund of 80-20. So that's a mouthful, right? So it's the TAP program through MoDOT. I'm very familiar with that. That's where I came from before, so very familiar with 76 Boulevard. Since not everybody's seen all this before, I wanted to take just a couple minutes and talk about what our crosswalks look like. We had some crosswalk conversations with Clay saying, hey, what is it that you can do to go above and beyond? So we're going to answer back in a really big way, really quickly. So if we can get the funding, we'll do some really interesting stuff. So right now we have rectangular rapid beacons. So basically, you can see the bottom picture there is Presley's and Cheddar's, and that's the crosswalks that are there. What's wrong?
The car has like 6 wheels. I was just curious.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool, right? So,
It is cool.
I shot that off of, thank you to Google, so I'm sorry about that. So a little bit about that, and we'll move past that one. So the Missouri Department of Transportation is seeking, as I said, the 80% to 20%. We put together a budget of what we think 3 crosswalks will cost, and the maximum that we can go after is $600,000. So our number that we put together there down at the bottom is $670,732 with anticipation of maybe getting the full amount there. There's lots of wiggle room in there to move around and do some of the different things. Part of this is Z crossings. So Z crossings is something that you're starting to see in other communities. This is something that I've pushed super hard with the 76 board. We took a backup stance on that, and it's going to ultimately become part of our Complete Streets program on there. What a Z crossing does for you is when you have a center lane, all you have to do is make it through 1 lane, and then you get a pause area, somewhere to rest and make sure that everything's okay, that your family and kids and strollers and things are done. Then you walk forward facing traffic, and then you get ready to go to the next one, and then you go across. We also layered that with something called the Hawk system. This is an overall picture of an existing Hawk system. That was a YouTube video that showed one. I would like to highlight that the city of Springfield has many of them. MoDOT put a couple of them on north side of Glenstone, and we have some high returns on less fatalities in these crosswalks. The Federal Highway Commission also did a study on the Hawk system that's there. So basically, it's like an intersection. So people are treating it as they're driving along, and they need to stop because it's a stoplight, but it's a stoplight for your pedestrians. The reason this is so important is we don't need to be on national news with pedestrians hit, and as we're putting money into segments 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 along 76, this is where we're going to sprinkle it. But with that being said, everybody says, well, 76 is the only area that you guys are spending money on, and that's why we're proposing to go over to Shepherd Hills and do one of these. These are some renderings and how a Hawk system works. And I'm not sure if everybody in this room, it's a little bit more of an educational piece. If you haven't seen one or used one before, you walk up, you press the button, they get a slow down to a stop, so a double red, and then it's a flashing red as you go across once your time is exhausted. The timing on that is done based on the most elderly person taking the longest amount of time to walk across, and it's based on feet, and we have control of that. The other thing that's interesting about this system that we're proposing is that these are all interconnected to our signal systems. Our signal systems that we have are the highest level of signals that you can have. That was through a grant from somebody previous to us, and MoDOT is in cooperation with us. This rendering here is coming off of 76, so some of our board members have seen this before. It is publicly available, and that's kind of what something will look like there, so the refuge that's there. What we're asking for, and I'm happy to answer any questions, is just a resolution saying that you support the idea that we're coming forth to, and you support that if we do get the grant, that we'll find some funding for it to make this reality, which is the fingerprint I would like to leave on this city with safe streets for all. Happy to answer any questions.
Wow, thank you, Michael. I will tell you that our community is very, very interested in this, right? We are now putting significant sidewalks and encouraging pedestrians to cross. And there's so much, I lost the word, so many distractions out there for drivers that this has the potential of being a big issue. I love the solution you came up with. I think that'll be very significant for our drivers primarily. I'm glad we're doing Shepherd of the Hills. If you would, maybe look at the crosswalk right from the Hilton to the landing as a possibility. I think that's excellent. My next question is, I guess to my city administrator, are you really coming to us and asking for approval to go get a grant to get money? Okay, just checking.
Yes. That's a requirement, but we're happy to change that if you're so requesting.
Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Any members of the board?
Michael, thank you. I don't think any of us realize how important this upgrade or this is, and I think it's easy to just take those, oh, there's some white stripes people walk across for granted until something bad happens, right? Which we've seen. And again, I drive the Strip multiple times a day. I go through several of those, and at times I've seen a lot of scary situations where people, like the mayor said, there's a lot of eye candy, and there's gorillas hanging off of buildings and upside down houses, and I mean, there's a lot to look at, and it's easy to get distracted, and the people walking are looking at the same things, and the driver's looking this way, and you look up, and all of a sudden it's too late. So I think I love that design. I think it totally makes sense, and I can see how that could really help with safety issues, and I'm glad to see us moving forward for that. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Clay, and a big thank you to Cheryl and Sienna and Corey. I mean, we spend a significant amount of time before we ever bring it up front to you. It is ready to go. It's already moving. I'm going to be going to other boards asking for them to give the blessing. I'll go out to Taney County and ask them to give the blessing. And the reality is this dream's going to come true in segment 1 and 2. It's just, are we going to back up, fix segment 3, and move on and provide other ones? And when we see them work and we see the better safety factors that are there, nothing's 100% safe, but it's definitely safer than it ever could be. Yeah. So I wanted to give a shout out to them because they watch online, and thank the 76 board and Great River Engineering. I cannot take complete responsibility for this by any means, or the murals that you're seeing there. So it's a lot of work and a lot of support from Kathy and the mayor and other people that serve on 76 that we stepped back and we really thought about safety after last year. So
yeah. Ruth?
Yes, Michael, I would just, a huge thank you to you, your staff, everyone that you work with. I love hearing your presentations because whenever you come up and present something to this board, you're extremely proactive, always looking for ways to save the city money, our public safety, and always looking for ways to apply for grants, or, just the teamwork that you have going on right now is just greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I appreciate the kind words.
Marshall?
Yeah, I mean, as Clay mentioned, and I appreciate you guys bringing this up, we've had loss of life in this community. And I sit in here and I have this oath of office in front of me, and I think about, as Ralph always mentions, life safety as one of the big things that we need. And so just know that as a board, we take that very seriously and our responsibility very seriously. So I wonder if education might be a piece of this as well. In the same way that, ever since I was a kid, Ted came to our school and told us to switch our, sensors and everything like that. So, I wonder, because when I drive up and down the Strip and I see these, it's just, I always make it a habit. You scan the entire thing, whether it's the middle of the night or there's nobody there. So I wonder if just education for our community as we implement these things could be an effective strategy as well.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say, Michael, thank you for everything. And if enthusiasm was any indication of a job getting done, we wouldn't need money, because you have more enthusiasm about this than I've ever seen before. But it's not just about this particular project. It's about this city as a whole. I visited with them during the Turfs Up program, and I couldn't get them to stop talking about just what he wants to get done. So I applaud you for your dedication to service here and the team that you put together.
Thank you very much. And thank you to my team for sure.
Okay, so with all those accolades, Michael, you're,
I need you to support the resolution so you can sign it so I can turn it into the state.
so
they
why
can
don't
give
we
me money.
vote on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Michael, go spend your money.
Hopefully we get it.
Yeah.
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Branson, Missouri, setting forth the facts and reasons for the necessity to adjust monies in the city's annual budget for fiscal year 2024 in the Transportation Internal Service Fund to buy out certain vehicles.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report from Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This applies to the next two items. One is asking for the permission to do this, and the second one is moving around internal service funds that we have in our department that will cover this. A little bit over 2 years ago, I came down here and I worked in planning, and I went through a little bit to try to buy two vehicles. Of course, we had COVID, or the effect of COVID, and buying vehicles was rather difficult. At the time, we had a leasing company that allowed us to lease vehicles, and they were unable to get us leasing. So we ended up buying two Broncos and kind of turned the city upside down for a moment. They were kind of going towards a leasing program, 5 years, and then you would dump the vehicle, and then you would go back in and buy the next vehicle, and you would always have the newest thing, which would drop your maintenance. As you know, my department also handles the maintenance on these vehicles. And so we kind of sat down and took a look, and basically all we've done so far is some oil changes and so on and so forth. After analyzing the budget and looking at the items that were there, an interesting one comes up as a Jeep Grand Cherokee that you see there in the top line. That's a vehicle I currently drive, and last year it was roughly about $492. Was the current RGB value, or the value that we can take and buy the vehicle for and stop our payments forever. As you see there, Sharia has done a fantastic job and had the finance people each month. We get a financial report, and I said, hey, I want to dig back into vehicles again, and let's take a look. So there, you've saved about $100 over the years. You're making lease payments, and the leasing company wants to buy it back for you to buy another vehicle that's at a higher rate, but they're like, oh, you'll get more money back. And the reality is they can't get their hands on the vehicles that we really want. So what I'm asking for today, and I've asked my fellow directors over the last year, is to reconsider the leasing program and think about the purchase program and purchasing out. As you see there, you have multiple vehicles at $45,000 to buy out. So for instance, we can buy a 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 60,000 miles on it for $396, and we can run it to the wheels fall off and then sell it off at auction. To me, that makes financial sense for the city and the city moving forward. Kathy and Alex listened to my pleas along with Ben Hart, and here we are today as I'm the first director that's saying, here's all my vehicles that are here. The ones that are $396, we actually have already purchased, but all the rest we're gonna purchase. So very easily $300 or $400 to purchase a vehicle that makes sense for Colorado. Surely all of us would want that. That also ends our leasing payments on there. So once your lease is done, if you choose not to end the lease and get a new lease, you continue to pay it plus a $25 premium fee on that. So I would like the blessing from the board as you see the listing there. These are the listing of the vehicles that will come offline this year to buy them out.
What do you think about that? Huh? Cherie, I'm sure, is due a lot of kudos. Michael, you're welcome to come to the podium anytime you want, just so you know.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience? Questions, comments from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6436, an ordinance amending the adopted 2024 budget for the City of Branson to adjust monies in the Transportation Fund for an increase in the capital equipment account.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6436. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Michael, you started out with 2 home runs.
And that's a ditto for what I just presented. Now you're gonna move the money.
I want to hear another one. What say you?
Same, ditto.
Oh, same.
We're just moving the money around. We're moving it
Oh,
from
okay,
savings to
okay.
checking.
Questions from the audience? Questions from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board.
You asking for a double?
Oh, no, I'm okay without a double. Let it go.
Oh.
Oh, no. Yep, move on.
Good.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6437, an ordinance approving the First Amendment to the Public Service Agreement by and between the City of Branson and the Branson Lakes Area Tourism Community Enhancement District, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
You've heard the first reading of Bill Number 6437. Do I move a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll get a staff report from Holly. Hi, Holly.
This is in regards to the contract that we entered into with TCED. It's a public service contract. The intent of the contract was to join together in working for a relationship with the Kansas City Chiefs. Go Chiefs. So in writing that contract, there was a clear agreement that we would split any of the playoff, which was all of it, costs. Then there were percentages written in. Those percentages do not accurately reflect the numbers in the contract with TCED. But there was a clear determination by the board that we would split the costs of the entire contract. And so all this amendment is to clarify and enter in new percentage amounts. It is still 1/2 of the Kansas City Chiefs, go Chiefs, contract with TCED.
And Holly, I'm assuming you've talked to TCD and they're on board?
They've asked us to get this done, and they've
Yeah,
already
because
signed it, yes.
This is what we've agreed to.
Yes, because we won't pay it until the higher amount, until it's completely clarified. We have a finance director who's pretty stickler on that.
Good for you, Sheree. Well, if the Chiefs didn't win as much, it wouldn't cost us as much.
That's true, but it got us more attention, and every time people talked about the Chiefs, they said, you know what? The official vacation destination of the Kansas City Chiefs is Branson.
I've heard that.
Once or twice.
Yep.
Anybody in the audience wishing to address this? Any members of the board?
So we're just cleaning it up, right?
We are. We're appropriately recognizing what that percentage amount is. It was half, so it's not really changing the intent of the contract, but we're making sure that the percentages, so, 5 years down the road when we renegotiate this, we're going to say, hey, wait, these don't make sense. That's why.
And this applies to, as this contract continues into the years? Got it.
Yes, it clarifies to all years of the contract.
So thank you for cleaning this up. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Now would we like a double read?
Yes, we would. Oh, double.
Holly?
TCED would like a double
TCED
read.
would.
They'd like the money.
Well, let's hold
They
off a
already
little bit.
spent, so.
It's already been spent.
All right, then. Your Honor, I move to read Bill number 6437 as final reading to get their money to them. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
We have motion to second. Any members of the board wishing to address this approval for a second read? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction for this final reading?
Your Honor, this is a final reading of Bill Number 6437, an ordinance approving the First Amendment to the Public Service Agreement by and between the City of Branson and the Branson Lakes Area Tourism Community Enhancement District, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
A motion, a second.
So moved.
Second.
So any members of the board wishing to address this second and final read? Madam Clerk, would you please now provide a roll call vote?
Denham?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Howden? LeBlanc?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you, Holly.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6438, an ordinance approving the contract with Environmental Systems Research Institute Incorporated for the enterprise license agreement and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
You've heard the first reading of Bill Number 6438. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report from Chad. Hello, Chad.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. Welcome, Alderman Schultz. The following is a 3-year licensing agreement with ESRI, who is our GIS software mapping vendor. We've been with ESRI for over 25 years. They are the industry standard in GIS software. This is an enterprise, sorry, I can't read. This is an enterprise agreement that allows us licensing for each department. In fact, almost every department utilizes this software in their daily duties. The 3-year licensing term has an annual fixed cost of $28,400. The total not to exceed amount of the contract is $85,200. Funds for this are in the 2024 budget appropriations, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the board?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we currently have a GIS license, correct?
Correct, yes.
When does that expire and when does this one start?
Very soon. Yeah, I believe it's the end of this month. The current one expires. I could double check with our GIS manager, but very, very soon. So we definitely need this, yeah.
And I know the mayor will say we should have talked about this ahead of time, but
Go ahead. No, you have grace on this one for sure.
this meeting I get grace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only this one.
I noticed, at least on the copy that I have, that the quote for this, which is an integral part of the contract, is expired.
Yeah.
Is that an issue, or are you okay?
I don't believe so. Legal reviewed it, and their legal also has reviewed that, and so that didn't come up. It took us a bit to get it through legal with some issues with who was going to sign the agreement on their side. As crazy as that sounds, sometimes you run into those things. And so, but yeah, it was delayed for that reason and getting it through contract management.
Great, thank you.
Holly, do you have something?
Just to clarify, once they have submitted the quote, we incorporate that into the contract. That becomes part of the contract. And so they then sign it before it comes to vote today. So they have already accepted the fact that they are going to stay on that amount by the contract.
Thank you. So if I understand it, it's $28,000 a year.
Just over, correct.
And it's and change. And so it's a 3-year contract. So what we're agreeing to tonight is the full $85,200 and something.
Over that term, correct.
Over the 3 years.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chad.
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6439, an ordinance amending Section 2-136 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to residency requirements.
You've heard the first reading of Bill 6439. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I would like to make a few comments on this. We had a few board members asked to put this on the agenda, and what the request to this board is, the only city employee that's required to live in the city limits is our city administrator. Our fire chief and our police chief, they both live within 15 miles of Branson. And those jobs are obviously important for response times. And so the question to this board was to amend our code. It's our code that restricts the city administrator. So the code says we'd like to extend the same 15-mile radius around Branson that we offer to police and fire chiefs to our city administrator. Is that fair? Are there anybody in the audience have any questions on this? Any members of the board?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I mean,
We're
I don't
about to
know.
find out because we're going to vote.
And I have I'll ask a question after this because it doesn't really have to do with the city administrator, but it's about the requirement of, can I ask it now or does it?
Ask it now.
Okay. No, I totally agree with this. Is it state statute that aldermen have to live in the? No, I know in the city limit, but my question is, and I understand that. My question is, why does it have to be specific? Like if Ralph wanted to move across town somewhere and it wasn't in his ward, why does it matter what ward you're in? I mean, can't you just be a city of Branson alderman? Or is that a state thing or is that a us thing?
It's state, Holly?
State statute requires that, and the idea is, and the division of having wards is so you have equal representation. That's why we have the House of Representatives, that's why we have the Senate. Each area is to be represented, so they have a voice.
Yeah.
Holly, I've seen their votes, and I don't believe that they represent their districts. I've seen them.
Point of order.
I think all of them are very clear on where their borders are, especially when public comment comes around.
Holly, I think isn't the one exception to this rule, and maybe we're getting too far off track here, but isn't the exception when you appoint somebody to a ward, they no longer have to be a resident of that ward? I think the state statute removes that requirement. No?
No, you're thinking of the appointment requirements regarding voting. If you are an alderman, you must be in the ward, and I can give you that quote.
For the duration? Okay.
And again, I don't want to go off on some trail, but if somebody that lives in Ralph's ward came to me and wanted help, I'm not going to go, sorry, I'm not your.
No.
So I guess the question is, we can't just be a alderman of the city of Branson. We got to be an alderman of a specific ward. That's the statute.
Some cities do have, like in St. Louis, they have wards, and then they elect at-large aldermen as well that are elected throughout the entire.
Yeah.
So just
So that's not something if there was ever any interest, we couldn't change that. That's a state thing.
For residency.
Huh?
For
No, I understand living in the city limits.
No, and you have to live in the ward.
But if I wanted to move to Branson Hills, I'd have to resign.
That's correct.
I need to double check, but yes,
That's
you
crazy.
represent your board.
It's
All right, then.
79.7.
And
I don't like that rule.
And I'll just briefly share, when I became an alderman, at the time, I had other businesses and individuals reach out to me that was not in my ward, and so I would assist them as an alderman, and at the time, I would be reprimanded for helping a citizen that wasn't in my ward. I was instructed to refer that citizen to the alderman in the ward. I didn't happen to agree with that. I felt that even though it is equal representation, if there's any citizen or business within the city limits and you have a relationship or you reach out to an alderman, I've experienced with this board, that's what they do, right? So blah, 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 all in favor in this bill number 6439, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Your Honor, the next item is appointments. The appointment process is in accordance with the Board and Committee appointments procedure for Category 5 appointments made by the mayor with approval by the Board of Aldermen. Mayor, please announce your slate of appointments to be voted on.
And this is for the 76 CID Committee?
Yes, sir.
I am nominating Billy Ong and Mike Patrick.
And for the city director position?
Alex Gerard. So the board will be voting on a slate of appointments. Are there any aldermen requesting an appointment to be pulled from the slate to be voted on individually? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the slate of appointments for Category 5 as presented?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. We are down to the reports. We'll begin with Alderman Denham.
Again, I'd like to congratulate Alderman Schultz, Alderman Howden, Alderman LeBlanc. I think that I'm looking forward to this next year of all of us serving together and doing great things to work together for this city. Ted Martin was so wonderful to take us on a tour of Fire Station 4, which is in Ward 3. Our own Holly Dodge and Hillary Buron were able to meet there, and that is a beautiful, beautiful fire station. We are blessed to have that here. Thank you to everyone for all the work that you put into accomplishing this. And Turf's Up, we attended. Cindy Shook, thank you so much, and your staff. You can play barefooted on that field. It's like walking on carpet. It is beautiful. And for all the competitions that are going to be brought into this city, that is fantastic. So thank you for that. Just really proud to be a part of the city and everything that's taking place right now. So that's it. Thank you.
Clay, before you share, I know you're an alderman in Ward 1. This fire department happens to be in Ward 3. You don't get to go see it.
Yeah, I was, that's one of the reasons I was talking about, I didn't get the invite, so.
There's a reason.
Thanks, Ted. I reached out to Kathy last week about a couple of employees. I think they're Michael's employees, right? Kevin and Sharon. And she told me, I'm just so blown away by them. And she reminded me, and I remember now, that they received an award not long ago for their works. But man, they are really something. I guess they're in charge of just the 76 CID where I'm at there, in front of my theater down to the Presleys, and was that phase 3 or what did they? Yeah. I'm telling you, there's not a day that goes by that I drive up and down that road again, half a dozen times. They are busting it and busting it. They got their little green vests on, and they're pulling weeds, they're shoveling mulch, they're driving that little gator around, I never seen them on a cell phone. I mean, they're working. And that says a lot. I mean, it's just, I don't know. And I talked to her, and then actually that evening when I went back to work, I saw them out in front of Pescetti's there across from my place, and they were doing something in the flower bed. So I pulled in. They were getting in their truck. They were doing whatever they was getting done, and I pulled up, and I said, hey, y'all, I just want to say how much I appreciate how hard y'all work. Went through the whole spiel. Y'all are always busting. I never see you messing around or talking on your cell phone. I appreciate your hard work and this and that. And Kevin's like, thank you, man. Good, how's things going this year at the show and this and that. And she was right next to my truck. And I said, well, again, thank you guys for all the hard work. And I pull off, and my window's still down. And I was about 5 feet, and I heard her go, who was that? I heard her go, that was Clay Cooper? And I just kept driving right out of the parking lot. It was so funny. I sat there and gave her 10 minutes of praise. Who was that? But anyhow, they are awesome. You got a couple of, I know you got a lot of good ones, but I'm telling you, man, they're awesome. Anyhow, I just want to say that. And then one more thing, and this is not to, I don't want this to sound like I'm promoting my theater, but, we talked about the vacation destination, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Branson, Missouri. Terry Bradshaw does shows at my theater. He was there just last night. And he's been with us for 4 or 5 years. 4-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Football Hall of Famer, movies, TV, reality shows, Bradshaw Bourbon, Bradshaw Burgers. The guy's kind of big. I just see an opportunity there, and I'm kind of surprised at this point that the chamber or whoever it is, or the TCD, wouldn't really jump on board and try to leverage the relationship that my wife and I have with Terry and his wife, and really, I mean, you don't get much bigger than that when it comes to football. And to my knowledge, I don't know if they've ever come to his show at my place or what. I mean, they filmed a HBO special at my theater a few years ago with him, and he loves Branson. He's trying to find a home here. He left Vegas to come to my theater. He said, "These are my people. I love this." I just really feel like there's a really good opportunity to leverage the Kansas City Chiefs and Branson, Missouri as the vacation destination and one of the biggest names in football that's on TV all the time. Every time he's on TV, he's mentioning Clay Cooper Theater in Branson, Missouri. Matter of fact, he said if he keeps it up, I'm going to owe him money. That's what he told me yesterday. But anyhow, that's something we might mention as you're having your meetings with the CVB, that I'd be happy to make that connection and do whatever I can. But I really think that could be a good opportunity for Terry while he's here, and for the city and him out all over the country mentioning Branson, Missouri over and over and over. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm done.
Thank you very much.
May I
Clay.
ask a question, Mayor? I'm happy to oblige that request. Can I also try on his Super Bowl ring? That's the only prerequisite.
Oh, he wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
I think it would take 3 of your fingers to hold it out. Marshall, what say you?
Thank you. I've got a list here, Mr. Mayor, of some people I would like to thank who played an important role in my campaign. First and foremost, I want to bring all glory to God and acknowledge the personal relationship I have with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who drives me daily to pursue a godly path for our community. I want to thank my family, specifically my wife, Kendra, who has to put up with the stress and strain on our schedules that running for office entails. I would like to personally thank my campaign manager, Daniel Seitz, and truly the entire Seitz family for the way they inspire me to maintain those values as well. And finally, I would like to thank this board, Cody and Chuck absolutely included, who I believe will be remembered in this community for many years to come for starting this speed of business train a-rolling. And I would be remiss if I didn't specifically mention the people of my ward. You know, I realized something recently. While I've lived in this community just about all my life, the vast majority of that has been in Ward 1. Our first little apartment when I was just 3 months old was on Colonial Street. Then my parents brought our dream home on Della. When I was in middle school, we found a place on Nyhart. And then my grandpa bought my mom the house on Rose O'Neill. That's 4, and I'm not quite done. My wife and I have been incredibly fortunate to find apartments on both Garden, Circle, and Preserve Drive that allowed us to stay inside the ward. Needless to say, I'm awfully proud of our district, Clay, and it's an honor to represent it. I strive to be a better alderman in my second term. As many of my colleagues will tell you, it takes a little adjusting to carry around 2 cell phones, for example, and learning the skills of communication it takes to properly pass along a citizen's concerns to admin carries a learning curve in and of itself. But I'm extremely excited to get the opportunity to prove myself to the citizens once more. I strive to be a better teammate to the people I sit on this dais with, and always operate with the utmost respect for where they are coming from as aldermen. And most importantly, I promise to live our values of faith, family, and flag in everything I do. And I think if I do all these things, I'll make my voters proud. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Wow, thank you, Marshall.
I think I like following Chuck better.
You know Chuck's watching.
Wow. So 2 years ago, when I embarked on this, you know, it was exciting doing the campaign thing, and you know, luckily for me, unlike the 2 gentlemen next to me, I didn't really have to campaign. I ran unopposed, but you know, I got to thank the residents that came out on that cold, wet morning and cast their votes for me, because 161 of you approved, and I want to thank you all for that. You know, Marshall mentioned a lot about family, and I got to tell you, it's definitely adjustment. You know, it takes up time, it takes attention, and you know, sometimes you have to make some sacrifices. But I can tell you, it's definitely been worth it. I'm looking forward to the next 2 years. I feel like, you know, that first year was a learning curve, and you know, like drinking water from a fire hose. No pun intended. Go Fire. Great at the softball game, by the way. But now that, we got some stride to us and we got some momentum, I'm really looking forward to the next 2 years. And I'm excited for Marcia, I'm excited for Glenn. Glenn, hold on, buddy, put your chin strap on, because we're going to be moving. And, to Chuck, it was great sitting by you. It was great serving with you. And I truly do really appreciate your friendship. My family was here tonight to watch me get sworn in for the second time. My oldest daughter, today's her birthday. She turned 28 years old. So Madison, happy birthday. And in heaven, tomorrow, my father will celebrate his birthday. And so to him, I'm honored. So with that being said, that's all I got. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, wait up. Turf's Up, got to shout out Cindy. Oh, great program. Great job. I was one that was able to kind of sneak in as Mammoth was doing the fields and get pictures for Lisa to post up on the newsletter and things like that. And I got to tell you, your staff, I try to sneak around in there, but, they kind of knew who I was right away, and they were willing to do everything they can to help me get those pictures. In fact, I think it was Josh actually shot video and pictures, sent them to me so that I could send them to Lisa, and it made me look good. It made me look like I was like I was really on the spot there doing it. So thank you to him. And man, what a great event. It was a lot of fun. It had that festive atmosphere. The only thing missing was like cotton candy, I think. I mean, if we'd had the smell of cotton candy there, forget it. So thank you for everything you've done, Michael Wood, Kendall, Cherie, Hillary, everybody. Gosh, I know I'm forgetting somebody, but keep doing what you're doing. We're ready to go. We're ready to move.
Don't forget Chad. Glenn, this is your first report. I'm anxious to hear it.
Well, a lot has been said about, and I too want to extend my thanks to Chuck. I think no matter where you stand in the issues of the city, it takes a tremendous amount of work to be an alderman. You're out in front of the public, taking both the criticisms and the compliments, and you spend a lot of time in meetings and prep work and working with staff. And I think we owe Chuck a lot of thanks. Any alderman that takes the time to serve the city and sit up here and do this job, it's tremendous. And we should be thankful to all of them, but especially to Chuck. I too would like to thank the people that encouraged me to run for this position. I didn't say yes right away. They had to come after me a second time to extract the yes, but I'm very grateful that they did. I also want to thank my wife, Beth, for supporting me throughout the campaign. It takes a lot of effort, as you've heard. A lot of time went into it, and a great deal of the time Beth was out there with me, so actively supporting the campaign, so I really appreciate that. I also very much appreciated meeting with nearly all of the aldermen and the mayor during the campaign and sitting down with them at length and having conversations about what they saw in the city, what they saw coming up, what they saw the stumbling blocks to be. Great conversations, including our past alderman, Cody, there. I thank you all for those conversations. That was very helpful. And then, of course, I want to thank the voters, too, the people that volunteer to put up signs. That's actually one of the harder part of the campaigns, is getting people to agree to put up signs. And businesses are twice as hard. So I thank all those people that went out of their way to allow me to put up signs. I think the one thing that impressed me most, and I've told so many friends outside of the area about this, because I think this truly underscores the character of Branson, is you're talking with a constituent about issues, they're sharing something with you, and you go to shake hands with them to say goodbye, and they grab your hand and say, before you go, could we pray? There's no other city that would do that I'm aware of. And then, then there was also a number of people after a lunch meeting or a breakfast meeting would do exactly the same. And then I came to find out that churches put you on their prayer list through this whole process. Just incredible, absolutely incredible. So I thank all those people as well. And please, every church, put me on your prayer list because I'm going to need it throughout this process, no question about it. So I also want to thank Kathy and Alex and Hillary and Josh and others who have started running me through the onboarding process. I've got to meet with a lot of the directors yet. I'll get that done in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, right, Kathy? I look forward to meeting all of you and hearing what your issues are and how I can help you in this role as alderman. I already have my phone number, my city phone number to me, so you can look that up on the website hopefully soon and be able to contact me through those methods. And then one final thing, sort of a public service announcement, if I may. I know how much we love our first responders in this city. We absolutely revere them, we support them. It's another great hallmark of Branson. We've got an event coming up this Wednesday, April 10th, from 4 to 7 p.m. That's a fundraiser for our police department. This is sponsored by the Branson Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association. And let me just interrupt this public service announcement to say, if you want a great experience, sign up for this academy. Citizens of Branson, and we've got a number of them here, I can look around the room of people that have attended it, can't speak highly enough about learning how the police department works, what they deal with on a daily basis, and how we as a community can support the police even more. So this group, what it does is it works behind the scenes to better represent the police department in the community and to fundraise for the police department for those items that may not be in their budget. So they have this fundraiser at Papos from 4 to 7 p.m. That's the one right off the balloon on the landing there, on the side mall over there. 4 to 7 p.m. All you have to do is go to their website, bcpAAA.org, and download a coupon, and that'll let the Papos folks know you're supporting the police department with your dinner. And I'm sure there'll be some of the BCP AAA folks at Papos handing these things out if you forget to print one out in advance. So please get out there and support this real worthwhile cause. And I'm also going to take the minute to say I've also encouraged our fire department to start a similar organization in support of the fire department, because I think our community would be 100% behind that as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You bet, Glenn. Thank you very much for that. Kathy?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, congratulations, Alderman Schultz. Welcome aboard. We are just absolutely delighted to have you. And I also just want to say your spirit really comes through in taking on this role, and the few conversations we've been able to have so far have actually been a joy, and I really look forward to partnering with you in Branson's further success. So thank you for the sacrifice yet to come, besides what you've already sacrificed in family time and whatnot. And we'll try to make every one of those moments worthwhile with a good, solid return on that investment. So thank you. Mayor, I only have one more thing to add, and that is everybody's gushed on Cindy, rightfully so, and her team for the outstanding pulling rabbits out of their hats, working till midnight, 1 in the morning, trying to get ready for the Turf's Up opening. And so I joined in that chorus. It was absolutely outstanding, an impeccable event, full of joy, all Branson. It was just fantastic. So congratulations again. But I would be remiss. We can clap for Cindy again. But I would be remiss if I didn't take just a moment to express my horrible disappointment in the Branson Police Department's performance at the softball game. Because what the public does, that's right, louder for the people in the back, which is, oh, I think I just see, oh, here he comes in the side door. Now, I say this, not because I mean, I'm very proud of those men and women every single day, as we all are, but when you're trash talking, like these guys were trash talking, you better have something to back it up. And they didn't. They were obliterated by the fire department, for those of you who missed the event. So, again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the chief led his team down this horrible road to defeat and humiliation. But I think that they can redeem themselves in some other event. I don't know, a tiddlywinks or something maybe might be more suitable. I'm not quite sure. Or a thumb wrestling maybe might be something you can manage. So we're going to come up with something and make it a big community to do. But congratulations again to the fire department for soundly putting the PD in their place.
Well, I've talked to the chief of police, and, I mean, he acknowledged that they took a beating. What I feel like I need to share, Ted, Chief Martin, is at the next game, when your runners are rounding second, heads up, their shortstop will have a taser.
That's the only way they can win. I'm pretty sure we're going to release Rico as well.
Oh, and Rico. Yeah, they'll never make it to home. Rico's going to be sitting on third base. That's funny. I could go on and on and on. I loved listening to every report that our alderman gave, and I'll just try to keep this short and say ditto what they said. I couldn't be more proud to be the mayor. Also proud of our chiefs. I was in a meeting with a few of the members from the Chiefs organization, and I want our community to know, our businesses to know, that every business that has a website can place the official Chiefs logo, the Branson's official vacation destination of the Chiefs, with their Super Bowl logo on their websites. And I think that'd be pretty cool if we got several businesses in Branson to do that. Other than that, what a great meeting, Glenn. I am so anxious for the input and direction you're going to help us. Moving at the speed of business, for sure. Cody, I'm shocked you're here. Now, do you know we have executive after this? Huh? Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. What a great meeting. Oh, I can't adjourn. We have these silly house rules. So since we're going into executive, just so you know, for some reason, we leave this meeting, we go into closed executive, we come back out, reconvene this meeting so we can end the meeting. You heard me right. So do I have a motion to go into closed executive session?
So moved.
Actually,
Mayor, I move to go into closed executive session pursuant to 610.021.2 RSMO for real estate.
So we have a motion, we have a motion and a second. Did you have something, Sheree, you'd like to share with the rest of the class?
Step up to the podium.
Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote, please?
Denham?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yeah.
Howden? Yes. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 5-0, motion carries.
So this board will now move into closed executive session and will return to the council chambers once executive session is over to adjourn this Board of Aldermen meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn the Board of Aldermen meeting?
You don't have a quorum.
So moved.
Just hang on just a sec.
Ralph?
I know.
Do we have a quorum now?
With Ralph, you sure do.
Okay.
I move to adjourn.
Do I have a motion
Second.
to adjourn the Board of Aldermen meeting?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.